Hey everybody, and welcome back to Studying the Masters. This is episode 5, part 2. And I didn't even realize I was rushing the last time to try and get everything in on time, or get as much in as I could before I had to log out. And now I'm like, oh, I'm still kind of on a crunch time schedule, but I'm gonna work for what we got. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. I hope you saw the first part, but absolutely no worries if you didn't. I'm gonna be just kind of sketching right off of right where we left off, right out of the Art of Zootopia book. The sketches that I'm doing right now are from Corey Loftus. He's the same artist that we were sketching with the last time, so he's character designer over there, and I really love what he's done here. Just so you know, guys, I have been I pray for y'all every time I get on here. I pray for the session. I pray that it goes well. I pray that y'all are looked after. So just know, even if you don't have any sort of belief, I'm trying to I have you in my thoughts and in my prayers, just so you know. Just so you know this, so you don't feel like you're alone. A lot of us feel alone in this sort of climate, and holidays can make it feel more lonely, especially if you're an artist out here trying to make it, and maybe you're not getting work, and you're like, up. I think I'm just not gonna be doing Christmas or holiday gifts exchanging this year. I'm gonna have to just draw you a picture or something because I don't have it right now. And I was like, I totally am empathizing with you if you're in that boat, because I definitely feel the pressure, and it's coming in. It's coming in I just hope that nobody's expecting anything too extravagant from me, because I'm doing the best I can out here right now. But you gotta speak it into existence, so I know that next year, this time is gonna be absolutely abundant. I've experienced wins and losses this year. It's been so up and down with how things have went. When the year started, I felt very positive. I was I had work in art. I was a working artist when we started the year, and you know what? As the the year kept going, things just started kind of trickling away, and I was like, "Ooh, it's getting hot out here. It's getting dry out here. The heat is kicking in." But you know, I was listening to Jim Rohn today. I never really listened to him. He's one of the older, one of the original motivational speaker type of people. And I heard Tony Robbins talk about him a bunch of times. I listened to Tony Robbins stuff, and I've heard him talk about Jim Rohn many times. I guess he was one of his mentees or something like that. But anyway, one of the things he was talking about is you can pretty much, what's the words that he said? He said you can teach a kid, or you don't even have to teach a kid. They can go to the store and they can buy a bottle of soap, is what he said, for $2 and sell it for $3. And I was like, that's the most simplistic way to put that, opportunities are not out of reach for any of us if we open our minds, and if we feel confident enough in ourselves that we can do it. I don't even think confident is the right word. I think what's a better word? Just sureness, or just unafraid, or just, I don't know, somebody tell me what the word is I'm looking for. I'm looking for a word like willingness, maybe, or what's that other word? Not innovation, but similar to innovation. There's a word, it's right at the tip of my tongue. It's like when you use what you have to make something, make an opportunity, or create opportunity. Resourcefulness. That's the word. Resourcefulness. I think it's a good word to look at. This actually, I'm understanding Mr. Nick a little bit better, but I'm still figuring out how he works and his different unique qualities. I don't know why my pencil brush was so light. Maybe I just chose a light color intentionally. I don't know. It seemed like it's lighter than I would have used, so maybe that one is too dark. Let's see. And his eyes are a little bit all right. There are some topics I want to talk about in the little bit of time we have today. I want to bring you guys some value, bring you guys some food for thought. I need a better word than that. It's overused. What is it like? I think maybe brain candy. No, that sounds too, I don't know. I don't like how that sounds. Maybe it's, what do you call it? Just something that you can, just some, ponder material. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just something to think about, something to think about. And let's see. Oh, I think I know. So I was trying to figure out like why this isn't where I want it to be. I think his head is just more forward. How forward is it? Alright. So let me think about, these are some things that actually came to me like the Lord woke me up in the middle of the night, and I just started talking to me, just like, hey, you need something to talk about? Talk about this. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds like an excellent idea. Literally like 2:30 in the morning. You have to think about like when you get ideas in the middle of the night, or when you're woken up in the middle of the night. The time makes a difference. I was like, if it's like 3 something, I'm not even gonna. I don't listen to anything that comes at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning is a bad time. I think that's a wrong time to wake up. I don't like that. I don't like that time. I think it's a bad number on the clock. So I don't, anything comes in at 3 o'clock, don't think twice about it. If a job offer comes to you at 3 o'clock, probably think twice before taking it. I just feel like it's bad juju. But I'm gonna get my note out in just a second so I can remember what it wrote down to actually talk to y'all about today. This isn't him exactly, but I want to get some more sketches in before I perfect this. And there's just a little bit of a twinge. Under his eye there. Let me see what I wanted to talk to you about today. Oh, yes. Why we receive tests in life. That is so important because I'm drinking my Sunny D, sorry. Tests come consistently all through our life. And you know what? I think most of the time, the first time we take it, we're going to fail. It's not that, like, that's a bad thing. I think it's just important to just be aware of it because the tests are like the experience that we're gaining. They're these things that, these opportunities that just pop up, or what feels like a setback, and it's just to kind of see where we're at. It's so we can gauge ourselves, so that we can kind of take that inventory of ourselves, like how far or not we've come, what stage or what level of maturity do we have, because sometimes we might think we're like, we've mastered it all when we really haven't. I'm learning that I still have a lot of things I need to learn, like a whole lot, but I'm starting to notice too, like where I've pretty much like either dropped the ball, or feel like you know just, I don't know if it's like regrets. In a way it is a regret, because like looking back on some of the choices that I made, especially in my career, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done that, or I didn't really appreciate what I had when I had it. Like there's jobs I had where I was in like a really good position, but I wanted more. I wanted, and I don't think it's wrong to want more, but I wasn't, I didn't see the whole picture. I couldn't see the whole picture. Like, cause I could only see what I wanted. I could only see what I wanted so much that I couldn't see what was in front of me. And I felt like that meant that that I wasn't important, or like if I didn't have like the bigger thing that I wanted, then maybe that meant that I failed, or I don't know what it meant. What did I really think it meant? Basically, I think I just didn't respect the position that I was in. And that's kind of hard to, let me take this down. That's kind of a hard thing to realize, when you realize you didn't respect the position that you were in. So I left too soon. I left like, you know what, well, I'm going to go after this other thing. But, the other thing didn't pan out how I wanted it to. Like, some things did come, but not in the way that I wanted them to come, or not in the way that I still didn't feel, I don't think I still felt like, I don't know. I think I still didn't really feel happy when I had, I've been wanting to do visual development forever. And when I got a visual development job, it wasn't for a major studio, but I got a visual development job. And I was like, I was doing it alone. I wasn't growing as much. I mean, it was a good position, but I think I could have even done that position probably while keeping the other one I had. It would have been more long term, because on the rainy days, or like, when you have certain types of gigs, like when it's over, it's over. And then it's like, oh wait, I don't have nothing right now. So it does make you think a little bit, like man, what have I been doing? I think I thought I knew more than I did know, which is, it's humbling, but you don't even realize it until after the fact, I guess. Because, you know, I try to think like, maybe I shouldn't have left where I was at. But then what? Then what do? You can't like hold on to it. You can only take from that experience and learn from it, you know? And like, all right, well, in the next position, I'll have this information. I think when making art, and it's funny that I'm doing like fan art right now, but in making art, I learned a couple of things about myself. I really want to tell my own stories is one, and I really don't want to work alone is a two. That's complicated because, to work on your own project, and especially to work on your own projects with more people than just you, it takes this thing called income. And, that don't, you have to be able to build that. You have to put stuff aside for that. That's something you have to work towards. And yeah, maybe like some things do pop up seemingly overnight, but I don't think anything really sustainable is popping up just quickly. And if it pops up really quickly with not a lot of effort, then it's like, that's not sustainable. Things that really are valuable take time, and they take planning, and they take being intentional. Even if you don't think it's going to go someplace big, like that happens a lot. Maybe somebody will do something as just like a passion project on the side, but they're still taking it seriously as far as the quality goes, and as far as like making something that's, what's the word? I think quality is the word I'm looking for. But also just maybe on a professional level, and not rushing it, not rushing it to be done, but doing it the right way. And then next thing you know, like that was the case with what's that really popular show, that little, it's not, it's a side project for the creator, but she did it really well, and she had people to help her through the day job. That's the thing, you meet people who can help you if you're open-minded. Don't take people that you work with like for granted, because you can collaborate with people. You can potentially learn a lot from people, even if you don't think you can, but especially the people that you don't think you can, you could potentially learn a lot from them. That's one of the things I'm noticing. Alright, so that was what was my first point? My first point was lessons. The lessons that you get, you think it's like to harm you. You think it's like, you think tests are a bad thing, but they're not. Tests are a good thing. Tests are to make you better. And don't resist them. And don't be just too discouraged if you fail, because that's kind of where I am. I'm like, oh man, but if you beat your, like, you can recognize you made a mistake without like beating yourself up, which is would be like stewing in it. Don't stew in your mistakes. Just like okay, maybe just write down what the lesson was. Then you can move on from it. All right. Another thing is like, what was I saying? Did I even say that point that they're not from people that want to hurt us? They actually, I think I was more talking about the character. Either way, the other point I wanted to kind of touch into or reach on is like, it's equipping you for the next time. Every time that you go through some type of a test is actually preparing you for something better. So don't think it's like the last time that you're going to experience this thing. It's not. It's only your last time if you're like, all right, well, I'm done. If you keep doing this, if you say either I'm done or you keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over again, then it's like, all right, then, you know, you make basically the person who's testing you is going to make this face with you. Like you didn't learn anything from this experience. Like, this is not your first time. This is not even your second time. Why are you still making the same mistakes? They're going to look at you exactly how Nick is looking in this image right here. So don't feel so discouraged. It's not the end. It's just to prepare you for the next time so that you'll know better. And then when you know better, you have every opportunity to do better, right? So might as well go ahead and do better. All right, next thing. It's also important to realize that, like, that you can become aware that you're being tested while you're being tested. Sometimes you'll learn after the fact. Yeah, I know, that sucks. It does suck, but it's especially when we're younger, or especially when we're first starting to even realize that life is included with a bunch of different types of tests. But once we start to be more conscious of just the way that life kind of works, we can say, oh, hold on, this feels familiar. This feels like something I've already experienced before. I'm trying to put this in the right spot. Or I think I know what's happening. You can have sort of a aha moment like that, just like a recognition, and just be like, oh, I see what's happening. I am going through a test right now. So just starting, because you're being tested all the time. You're being tested in all of your relationships, like if they're growing or they're not growing. You're being tested in how you spend money every time you get money. How much of it are you giving back to anybody? How much of it are you spending recklessly? How much of it are you spending responsibly to invest or in yourself? Even like taking an online class, that's investing in yourself. Putting money away in a Roth or IRA account. Like anybody who's 18, I think, can open up a Roth or IRA account and just put money in there and invest in themselves. So, you know, how are you spending money every time you get money? That's also a test. Especially when money's hard to come by. I think it's even more of a test. It's like a double test then, right? It feels like it's a double test for sure. It feels that way. I'm trying to just fix where his arm should be. Yes, I want to remember to draw through the shapes here. Another thing we can do is also start to notice patterns when we're being tested. Like when we start to feel uncomfortable or when we get the desire to run. Those are good ways to tell when we're being tested. When you feel the desire to run, and when you're feeling the desire to, you're feeling uncomfortable. Feeling overwhelmed, though, that one is a little bit more tricky. I feel like that one is a sign that you need support. That one is a little bit deeper. You can still be being tested when you're feeling overwhelmed. And I think in the bigger tests, when we're like more mature, and that doesn't just mean like age mature. I think it means just like mature in our emotional life and spiritual life. Both of those, I think, kind of are interconnected. So when we are growing more in that area, we might experience tests that include feelings of overwhelm, and that is a sign that we need like some type of support. We need to reach out, or we need to accept when somebody is reaching out to us, and not resist the urge to isolate. That's a big one, especially for me, because that's like my number one go-to. If I'm feeling like overwhelmed, I don't want to deal with like whatever I'm facing, and I even not deal with whatever I'm facing, but I don't want to deal with the emotions that come with what I'm facing. Is that what it is? Or I don't want to, maybe it is. Maybe it's that I just don't want to deal. So, or I just don't want to deal with them. I don't know. Sometimes it can feel like embarrassing to go through like, or to share the emotions that you have with other people. Or it can feel like, it makes it worse. I don't know if you're that type of person, but maybe if you're an artist, because you're watching this and you're introverted, sometimes it can feel worse to share with other people, because when they don't validate your feelings, or they like make you feel less than for sharing your feelings, it's like, you know what, I'm never going to share my feelings again. Not with you, for sure, and probably not with anybody. So if you feel that way, I understand, but you gotta also, like, find safe people who will, do their best to validate you, and you do the same for them in return. And what was I saying? Recognize that you're being tested, because it's like it's almost like, when you're in a dream and then you realize it's a dream, and you're like, oh, the rules are a little bit different now. Like, I've only experienced that a few times, but it'd be like a handful of times in my life where I've actually like been in the middle of a dream and realized while I was in the dream that I was dreaming. Then you can do whatever you want. Then it kind of takes a lot of the pressure off, because you know what the game is that you're playing. It's the same thing when you're being tested. When you know like the game is that you're playing, then you can kind of, oh, okay, well, I know what the rules are here, and it takes off some of that pressure. All right, let's do one more. I wanted to get 2 more, but that's okay. We'll do what we can do and not judge like what we can't or what we don't. I think that's a better way to live than trying to be like, oh, well, I didn't do this. Well, what did you do? What did I do? Not what I didn't do. If I can do a couple of these, then it's better than not recording, which that was the temptation. Well, you're just not going to record then? You don't have a lot of time. That voice gets in the head like, oh, well, it's too late now. But then it's like, well, maybe I still can, even if it's for 20 minutes. I can still say, I still have something to say that I can still say in that 20 minutes. So, might as well say it. And what I gotta say is the next point I wanted to talk about, and that is, once you realize that you're being tested, get prepared. Yeah, get prepared. Start to notice what's happening. Notice what's triggering you. Notice what are the things that are triggering you. Like if you're starting to feel like those feelings of running away, like why do I feel like I want to run away from this situation right now? Why do I feel like I'm ready to just quit this job right now? Even though I know that this is the only thing that's, putting a roof over my head, or putting groceries in the dish in the fridge, and enabling me to go out on the weekend. Why do I feel there's overwhelming urge to just leave? Why do I feel like just quitting this art project that I've been working on for years or months or weeks, but I was really excited about it to start? Am I being tested? Like, I'm being tested. I realize I'm being tested. So how can I combat that? How can I now combat that into a way that's going to, put me back in the upper hand, put me back in the behind the wheel, so to speak, back in the seat of control, because we're not like weak and powerless like we act like we are, especially if we know that we're not doing all of this alone. Then we're like, okay, I'm not in this by myself. I got somebody a lot bigger than me, a lot stronger than me, helping me, guiding me. So why do I feel like I'm doing this alone? I'm not. I'm equipped for everything that I was called to do. So why am I feeling self-doubt or like imposter syndrome? Like, no. Like, and then we can start to like, all right, well, how am I fight this? I'm going to first recognize, and then, all right, make a strategy. And making a strategy can just look like, calling on some people maybe that we haven't had the nerve to before, trying something different, maybe something that we haven't tried before, kind of going back to the drawing board and seeing, all right, well, maybe did I bite off too much? Do I need to scale it down? Do I need to focus? Like, one of the things that I really realized this year, which I think was actually a real blessing for me, was that I haven't been animating in a long time. I've been focusing, like, just about all of my ability in the last several years, and just trying to draw better and paint better digitally, which I'm still doing that too. I still love doing that, but I completely kind of forgot, that I love animation, and I was waiting for someone in a studio to tell me that I can be part of an animation, and that's not true. Don't wait for someone in a studio to tell you that you can be a part of an animation. You can make your own animation. I can make my own animation, and I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that because I like, well, it takes too long, I'm only going to be able to do comics because animation just takes too long. But comics takes a long time as well, trust me. And I'm realizing that I feel like I can't even do that alone. But I've started animating again. And I'm learning to call myself an animator again. I stopped calling myself an animator after I left animation school, and I was mostly just, in the fine art world. And I was like, well, I haven't animated anything in a long time, so I guess I'm not an animator anymore. And every time I thought that, I didn't even realize it. Every time I had that thought, like I felt like a gut punch almost, like it hurt, like it hurt. Like I felt like, oh, that feels harsh. Is that, or if I would say something like, well, I studied animation, but I don't really do that side anymore. And I would hear myself saying that when I'm talking to people at, networking events, and, or just when people ask me about what I do, and like, even every time when I say that, just kind of casually introducing myself, I will feel that same sort of gut punch, like, ugh, like I don't like how that feels. I don't like how that sounds. And so, like, 10 years ago, when I moved out to California, it's almost 10 years ago, and I started taking animation class again. I just wanted to, like, get a refresher. So I took another animation class, and I made a little short. And, but I didn't have, like, the success with, where I was trying to get with positions, and I wasn't trying to be, like, I didn't feel like I could be an animator at a studio anyway, but I felt like the only way I could be part of an animation was to, like, do the other things that I can do, like the character design and stuff, but there's so much software, like, nuances that I just didn't get. I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't want to do, like, the puppet stuff anyway. I was not interested in that, and I didn't want to do 3D. So I saw all the nuances, and I was like, and they're like, everybody's like, well, you got to pick one thing, and everybody has a lot to say. Like, when you start asking everybody for advice, everybody gives you different advice, and it's a shit way to live. I'm sorry to swear, but I gotta say it. It's a shit way to live, is to try and get advice from everybody, because everybody's going to tell you different things. You should get advice, but not everybody don't need to be giving you advice. Everybody don't need to give you advice. That's for sure. Because everybody's got their opinion. It looks so funny with no ears. And, but, one of the things and so, I put it on the back burner again, and I stopped calling myself an animator again. It did, you see it, I was being tested twice. I'm like, well, the only way I'm going to be part of an animation is if I get somebody to help me. And that's a bad statement to say. It's a bad statement. But I totally counted myself out as an animator. And I didn't realize, oh, actually, I am an animator. And I have, and because of, when your actions follow your words. So when I tell myself, I'm not an animator, then guess what happens? All of my animation projects that I started, I didn't finish them, because I think, like, well, I'm not an animator. And now it's all like, it all come together and starts making sense. I'm like, oh, that's what I told myself. No wonder why I didn't finish that little film I started, or I just did the animatic. No wonder why I just never finished that project with the stop motion. No wonder why I was waiting for a studio to pick me, because I said to myself that I can't be a part of an animation unless I work for a studio, because I'm not an animator. And that was what was in my head, and that was wrong. So I'm telling you to also, would be my next point is to learn from other people's mistakes. You can learn from other people and their mistakes. You don't have to wait to make your own mistakes all the time. And it's very not recommended to make all of your own mistakes. Learn from other people. Because we have a lot of mistakes out here. You have a lot of mistakes I can learn from, and vice versa. Trust me, I have a whole lot. If you need some to borrow, I can give them to you. You need me to tell you some mistakes? I can tell you some mistakes. I have plenty. Okay? Like life lessons, you want some from me? I can teach you a bunch. So, anyway, I have to go. But this was a good session. It wasn't, I knew I couldn't be that long, but I'm glad that we met and we got to just sketch together for a little bit. So, until I see you again, be grateful, live balanced, be yourself, and I'll see you soon. Alright. Alright, be grateful, live balanced, be yourself. See you next time.